So let me just share a few, let's say a little bit as a sort of introduction. As said, what we are trying to do today is to navigate through the different functionalities of the new gateway. You may know many of them, others perhaps you are not that familiar, so we hope this you find useful. Also, we would like to hear from you how we can work together and how we can help the tools of the new gateway the most useful for you. Some of you have your own websites, but some of you also rely on the trust fund page, on the joint program page that we have on our gateway. And then we would like also to hear from you. We just launched it 3 months ago. We launched it over the summer. So we have been doing some adjustments, but so far the indications of traffic is quite positive, but we want to keep improving it. And so any suggestion you may have, we would like to hear, or any difficulties that you are finding to have, any difficulties you have to find any information. So let me just share a few screens, a few slides, and yeah, I think you can see now my slides. So what we will do today, this is the plan for today. We are planning to have around 1 hour, but if you want to stay longer for some particular questions, we can stay, but let's try to stick in 1 hour, since many of you are really late for you. So we will go to the gateway overall navigation, then we will go a little bit in depth analysis of trust fund pages of joint programs. Then we will go into some select functionalities. We will go a little bit into the project page, and this is a particularity also of the joint programs, that you have only one project page as how the system is working currently, and then some questions and answers. So just some very generic information of context, why the new MPTF Office Gateway. We have been growth in joint funding and new pool funding in the last few years, so we wanted to provide kind of an integrated platform for joint funding. This is supported by a fully redesigned fund management and administration system, and Christina will give you some hints about how this is taking shape. But today we will really focus in the public external side that our partners are using to get information and results on the trust funds that we administer as the MPTF office. We have tried to enhance usability and transparency. For instance, not only we have changed the design, we have made it also more mobile friendly, so we can really have access to other users. And we have done this through a partner-centered approach. We have consulted very closely over the last few months to launch this gateway. We have been closely with partners, particularly contributors, but also fund secretariats and program countries. So what we want to show in this gateway is transparency, results, and partnerships. And we also, and this is important, both we want to incorporate the latest decisions and resolutions of the UN General Assembly in the quality features of pool funding. Many of you have been invited recently to submit a survey, but we have tried to embed as much as possible these quality features in the new gateway. And then we want to facilitate and simplify the management of interagency pool funds. Christina, I perhaps give it over to you so colleagues can understand the 3 different elements of the MPTF Office Gateway. And Christina, over to you.
Thank you, Raul. Thank you for the initial introduction. I will take this loop from what Raul was saying before about what is the new gateway is. The new gateway is about. So it's an integrated platform. So indeed, today we focus on the glossy part of the gateway. So the one that we are used to in terms of navigation, finding the document, checking our transactions. But of course, in the new conceptualization of the gateway, there is a part that is an internal application, thanks to which we can have several information transiting from the internal application to the more glossy part, which is the one that you see on the right side of this picture. But just to go a little bit more in detail and give you clarity, what does it mean, this integration? In order to have a joint program page, the system needs to be created in the backend application. So this internal application is built on 2 different levels. The first level is the fund administration system, that despite the bullet points that are really the core of the fund administration system, is the one that manages the concept at the fund level, at the parent level for the joint program. So what does it mean? That when I need to create a joint program page, in the internal application, there is the joint program is created with its own name, with the initial kind of blurb or communication message of what the joint program is about, and then the automatization of the process that enable the traveling of, for instance, the document or the description from the this internal application and into the joint program page of the website. What is this for? Because in reality, the ultimate goal is to have a tool that allow us to manage entirely the portfolio, and in case of the joint program, the project related to the JP in a comprehensive way and organic way. What does it mean? That in theory, you can enter all your programmatic aspects in the internal application and then have the ultimate result in the system. I don't know if you already had the chance to have, for instance, permission in uploading document, but the upload of the document, both at the parent level or at the child level, it happens through the internal application. In addition to that, the conceptualization and the importance of this tool is that because we, as Raul would say, we want a transparent communication of what we are doing. And for instance, very important is the icons that you see on the right side or the bottom of this of the page. In theory, we can upload all the results in a visual manner, so that we can have a sort of communication tool of the substance of every joint program. Same thing, we can have also additional element given by the internal application, possibly in the future also a dashboard that show how the fund, the joint program is contributing, for instance, to gender or specific markers, or eventually also to the result-based management. There is also a design of the SDG dashboard, which might be very interesting for the joint program per se, because if we manage the platform internally, we can also attribute based on the budget that is distributed for a specific joint program, highlight to what extent the joint program is contributed to the SDG. When this work at the fund level, so with the FAS, or at the project level with the fund management platform, the second one is fund management platform, so FAS and FMP, basically we can have a comprehensive tool that we use for our management that has actually an ultimate result, an impact on our redesign external site in a very modern way. So we can use also definitely for our communication, data analysis, and way to keep update all the information related to strategy, governance, and all these elements. I leave it here because I think that is going to be more clear when we will see the dedicated page to the joint program, and happy to respond to every question or details you may have. Thank you.
Thanks, Cristina. So I don't know if there is any question on the let me stop sharing and let's go to the interesting part, which is to navigate directly the site. So let me open it here. So if I don't see any questions, so let's go. It might seem a little bit simpler, but let's just start with the basic navigation and the basics of how the site works. For sure, many of you have already spent time with that, but perhaps by navigating all together, we can find we can find kind of some tools here and there. So basically, just a little bit on what is the logic behind. I think you can see my screen. So what in the past, what we realized, it was quite a lot, the use of the gateway was a lot about the key figures and the financial data. But what we really wanted to highlight with this new gateway and with the consultations with donors particularly is also the partnership, how UN entities, member states, private sector contributors and program countries come together. And then also a section on knowledge, where you can find, as our position on UN Center of Expertise, you can find the design pool funds, some latest trends, our annual report, and this financing report that we produce every year about trends on UN financing. When you see the navigation, it's quite simple, but you will have kind of this section is about the trust funds page, and you can look into the trust funds by theme, or you can go by geographical scope, global, regional, and country level pool funds. And then this is something new, is funds in the pipeline, is something that donors requested for new funds, so they might be interested. From here, you can go to contributors, participating organizations or program countries. So you can see, for instance, you go to a country, you can see the whole portfolio in that country. This is a new section that perhaps you might be interested to look into, is kind of all about pool funding, from what is UN pool funding. If you have a presentation to a partner, perhaps you can find text here, why a pool funding, what is a pool fund, why it's important in the context of the UN reform trends. This is important. These are the quality features. So you can see what is these quality features in the funding compact and the QCPR that member states are asking for. And here you have information on FAB forum we have all the years. And for instance, here is an starter kit, and here there is the legal agreement. And for instance, and we also expect that given the new, more simplified joint program note that many of you are already aware, and I think it's also, we have also colleagues from DCO that have been behind it. So there you can find the templates. You also can find the guidance for the joint program, the new joint program guidance notes and templates. So how you can find your, how is the best, if you scroll a little bit, the best way to find a joint program is like to look here. So for instance, you can type GP and all GPs will appear here, but I see, for instance, Valentin for climate. So you say climate security mechanism here, it is gonna appear. But I think also, let's say we wanna go to all that we have in Georgia, you can find it here. But also, perhaps it's not that important for you, but if you want to see if you are in a country office and you want to see all the country pool funds, that are in your country, let's go and also, let's say Georgia, that we were talking before. So here you will have all the funds that are currently operating on HANA activities in Georgia. Then this is the technical information about the latest contributions that we've been, and here you can also navigate funds by country, and I think it's not that relevant for you, but you can navigate, for instance, you are a donor, you can select, okay, I want to see Belgium where my money is going, and from here you can see, and you can see these are the funds and all the projects that you are contributing. Here, since this is very important, and we will go back to that, it's like, perhaps it's not that relevant for you, but in the past, for instance, organizations, member states and contributors like the United Kingdom, they were contributing through different ministry lines, and it was difficult to have a whole picture. Now you will have the information both at the member state level, United Kingdom, but let's see, in any particular fund or joint program, the money is coming from the Ministry of Climate or the Office of Climate or the Home Office, that would also appear here. So they will have the option of seeing the information both aggregated and disaggregated. And here is where we upload news. So I have opened, from here we can go, by the way, also one thing here, if you go to development funds, I think many of you are development funds. So we have how you can find your fund. Please note that we have selected multi-partner trust funds, but if you want to see joint programs, you click here and you will see all joint programs. Something that we have found, you want to order alphabetically or by amount of deposit, and here you can also play with the numbers, and you should be able to find here also your joint program. So let's start, for instance, with SAFE, for instance, or let me see, because I think perhaps. Yeah, I think I see Valentin, but I can go to any other fund or any joint program that you would like to share. So how is the logic before? You have to scroll down a little, quite a lot. So what we have moved is into a tabular navigation of the fund page, where you have an overview with the most important information, but then you have specific tabs for more information on contributors, on the financial information, which perhaps is the most important tab for many of you, objectives, governance, project results, news, documents, and contacts. We will go back to this, but also please, it's going to be easier for you to have a dedicated section on news, on videos. If you have some stories, please share our way. As Christina was saying, not all the joint programs have done it, but you can indicate what are the SDGs you are contributing to, and then we will highlight it there. What are those SDGs? Here also very important. So when you come to overview, here you have the title. In many funds, if you have it, you can have also, like in the case of SAFE, you will have a tagline that you provided or we suggest. So it's a very quick way of understanding what is this about. And then you will have an overview, which you have a little bit more of information. Also very important, in this in focus section, you have the status of the fund, and you will see the latest reports. So if you want to go to key documents that before were here in focus, now you have to go to the section documents, right? Where you will find the MOU, the TOR, the different fund level reports. If by any chance there is any document that you would like to highlight here, because it's when donors arrive and partners arrive, or partners in country, please let us know. We can also include a link here to kind of the TOR or the MOU if you are interested. Here you will go, if you click more, you will go to the section objectives, where you can have all the theory of change and you can have more information. Something important, if your joint program has a dedicated site, or you want to refer to the UN SDG, to the country office, UN SDG site, or wherever you recommend, we can also add here a link of the website. So in that way, we kind of reinforce the traffic between the two pages, right? Your is going to be more programmatic page. This is more from the perspective of the administrative agent. As Christina was saying, one of the new things is that you can highlight results. And why we have done this is, like donors were saying, okay, it's good, you see all the numbers, you see all the figures of transfers, but I would like to see results, right? So these results for the moment are fed manually. So you have to send to us, and we will able to upload here from 6 to 12 results. You can do it annually. And I don't know if perhaps in here we have cumulative of annually in the climate security. But you can do it by year or cumulative. Cumulative is for the whole process, but you can have it for 2021, 2020, so as you prefer. And here you will see all they have a similar format, a number, and then a very short description. Okay. There are the key financial figures where you can see the trends. And here you will have the list of all contributors, all the contributions. I think in the case of JPs, this is more straightforward because usually there are no different tranches. But if there are different tranches, like I think in this case, for instance, you can see what are the commitments that you are expecting, and you see that still Sweden has a commitment of $1.5 million for next year. This is also something new. Is just see the multi-stakeholder nature that we were talking before. So here you see who have been the 5 contributors and how much they have contributed, and what are the country, or in this case, what are the participating organizations who are receiving this. You can play also with the time frame here. And here you will see the participating, the organizations that are receiving contributions in that joint program. What else? Here in contributors is very similar. This is the information of contributors, and perhaps this is the most important page where you sometimes look into financial information. So you will have the financial status of the fund, that here you can select for 1 year, for what year, what period of time. Remember, this is only in one given moment, so that's why it's not from to. It's just a period of time. So if you say that can give you what is your financial situation right now as a fund. This is the delivery analysis, where you can see, where you can see the different part. You can do an analysis of delivery by organization, by theme, or by project. In your case, you only have a project because you are one standalone joint program, but you also can see delivery by year. So that's also a tool that is here. And the delivery is calculated as transfers versus expenditures, right? So sometimes you have different cycles and may have different ways of calculating delivery. How the gateway calculates delivery is expenditures divided transfers, irrespective of the period of time. So here are the projects, and I think this is easier for you. In the objectives, and I don't know why this is not working, but usually when you go, we have some problems. You can add here the strategic framework. Let me see why this image, and if not, Valentin, I think we will review why the image is not coming here. But usually you are able to include here a theory of change, and here you have a little bit like 4 or 5 paragraphs explaining a little bit the theory of change and what this fund intends to do it. Governance, the different roles of the governance, and this is very important. As we are splitting the platform into what is public and what is more kind of your work to work day, as Christina was saying, all these contents you have to submit it to my colleagues, Vicky, Christina, or myself, and we update this information. You don't have direct access to Drupal because we didn't want you to have multi-platforms to enter. So the more communication narrative content is something that we update manually. Many of you should have already received, like some months ago, but if you didn't, please let us know, a survey where you can, from time to time, or wherever you want to update information, you can send us the changes that you would like to do it, and we can do it. But all this information, narrative information, key results, for the moment, are all being uploaded by the MPTF Office Communications team manually, and you can send it to us, right? So what else? Results. In here in the results, you will see the results that we saw before, and also you will have all the annual progress reports. That's something new that you can have. In this case, you can have news if you have long post news, but we can also upload stories or even images and pictures if you would like to do so. And all the documents can be found here, from the TORs in this case to the fund level reports. And here the reports are, so basically you have to click search to see all the documents. So but you can play what type of document you are looking. For instance, if you are look at legal documents, you can select and you will see the terms of reference here. And perhaps the particularity of the standalone joint programs is that this is the fan page. We are following the fan page structure, but when you want to go into the project specifics, that should be the same. Here you will come to the project specific of the joint program. We know it's how it works in the whole gateway, but here you can have basically some additional information. Again, here you have also for your information, something very important. We migrated all documents and all descriptions of projects from the old gateway. That was very complicated, but that was something that we really wanted to make sure that no content was left behind. So if you see executive summary and then the full description here, this is coming from the old gateway. Should this need to be updated, please let us know, and we can also see how to update that. So this is something new, and perhaps Christina, I can give you the floor here to explain this page if you want, or Christina, if it's fine. But here you can see this financial graph is something new that we have generated. So you want to see how the expenditure is going, you can just highlight expenditure, and you can see how this fund is evolving climate security. Or if you want to say expenditure versus transfer, so here you will see that still there is a margin here for implementation, right? So this is the financials by organization that you can also, if you click here, you will have this by year. Some of you need this information by year, but is here offering as a total. And same thing, this is the financials account by the UNSDG standard. And here you will see the latest vouchers, meaning the latest payments and transfers of resources that the MPTF office did, and from here you can follow the status. Project description whistle, and here you will see the product of this activity. So perhaps we can stop here, and I don't know, Christina, in the project page, if you want to add something else, and we can have like your first round of questions here.
No, thank you, Raul. The only thing, if you can put again the page just for 2 seconds. It was mostly about what you were saying about the project description. That is basically migrated from the Gateway 1. And this is a clear example of what we can do with the integrated platform. So if you think that this description that goes into the project description tab is either outdated, or you want to give a different kind of highlights because it's really coming from the migration, you can liaise with the program manager, program team at MPTF Office, because via the internal application, this can be automatically updated. So this is just an example of how the platform are contributing to each other, and same thing of the document. Another little tip that I would like to share in the document tab, Raul shows the legal document that are kind of framed within a sort in an icon. It doesn't mean that these are the exhaustive set of documents that are available. You may have more. So if you don't find in the icons, that doesn't mean that the document is not there. You just scroll down at the bottom of the page as it was showing in the search, or in the little tool that there is on the top right menu. And then you give a search, and you can make the search at the parent level, so at the fund specific, or at the project level if you have additional document there. So just not to to think that the documents are not available. We, as Raul was saying, we decided to migrate, not to leave any content behind. So all the documents will be available. But of course, if you need any support on this initial navigation, feel free to touch base, and we can do some specific search if needed. But we are all trained within the MPTF office, so we can definitely support you on that. Thank you, Raul.
Yeah, and perhaps apologies. Perhaps in this, in this question of, I'm gonna drink a little bit of water. But perhaps, Christina, what we can talk also a little bit is like also there are new functionalities for the management of documents. So all the documents, if you will see, were migrated with the name they used to have in the old gateway. Now you have the option of having kind of the file name.
I think
how these wanna be displayed. Or taxonomy has a certain type of categories of all the documents. Now there are additional options. So also, if there is any document that perhaps is here as a product, but in this case this is correct, but something that you will need, for instance, this is a product but appears as a meeting minutes, please let us know. Because we are also trying to correct any document that you are missing, and that should be here also mention us. This is also always important for transparency and accountability purposes. What is fed automatically are all the narrative reports, all the financial reports, and all the certified statements, the so-called SUFs, like the source of use of funds, that is generated automatically when the reporting exercise, financial reporting exercise, takes place in May, usually.
Raul, if you allow me, there is a question on the documents from Nino. Is about which systems are these documents originated from? Atlas. The reality is that the document that you've seen there, they're mostly migrated. So what was available and public in the Gateway 1 was migrated into the Gateway 2, which is the set of documents that you have just seen. And there is indeed an option to tag in the new functionality. We're not talking about the old document, but in the new functionality to have tagged document just internally. So if you are given access to the internal application platform to upload the document, yes, indeed, you can have it, so that they remain available either at the parent level or at the child code level. And you can mark it as internal, and when they are marked as internal, they can never, the system disable the possibility to publish. However, if you are reviewing your document set in the current partner size, so the one that we're seeing now, and there is document that you don't wanna have in the external view, you can probably contact the PM you're working with, and then we can work on deleting from the external view, but it means that they are still relevant and available for the internal application. They need to be re-uploaded because the platform goes one way only. So we cannot, delete from the external part and push them back. So in this case, it's going to be a little bit of a manual thing, but you can liaise with your PM and then go through the setting of the document and see if they are relevant, or you may want to update or adjust. Same thing for the project or joint program description, as Raul was saying. If there is anything that might need to be updated, feel free to liaise with your PM, and then the things can be adjusted. Let me see, there is another question. I hope that was comprehensive as a response, Nino.
And perhaps, Cristina, what we could also add here, if you see in your page some documents that are there, and for some reason there are all versions of the product that you would like to unpublish, please also let us know, right? Because I think there might be an option also to do it all documents. With the new documents, that's the logic, but there might be all documents that were migrated for Gateway 1, which if that's the case, then we have to do it through this system, right? So that
what you see in this Gateway now is what was available in the Gateway 1. So there's no things that are appeared that they were not available before. Yeah, thank you, Nino. And we have another question about the result-based management from Janine. I think that this may require a little bit of more deep dive into this conversation. The result-based management in terms of automatic feed of the results, it happens only if the Secretariat of the Joint Program work automatically to have all the information in the internal application. What does it mean in very, very synthetic way? We have two levels so you can identify the SDGs, not only the icons that Raul was showing that are basically set at the parent level when the joint program is created, but also you can identify to what extent the budget is contributed to specific target. But to do so, basically you have to enter all the information of the joint program at the programmatic level into the platform. And then in this case, you can identify, and then based on the JP cycle, life cycle, these are automatically calculated based on the transfer, and so you will see a bar chart of the contribution to the SDGs. For the result-based management in terms of indicator, as Raul was showing there, the same system is valid. So you have to enter in the internal application your result-based framework, including the indicator. When the indicators are considered and flagged as a signature or flagship indicators, in the long run, this would serve to populate automatically the indicator from the back end. So when the full report is going to be developed from this internal application to the website. At the moment now, it's more like the communication team that yearly connect with the Secretariat and identify and of course confirm with the Secretariat what are the results, and they are going to be manually uploaded. So let's say that yes, there is a way in the next kind of deployment, as soon as the report is going to be ready, to have this automatization. But at the moment, the only option is basically through the communication group. And will it be interoperable with the UN Info? Not at the moment. There's no way to make the communication talk with the two platforms. We understand the issue, so it's an issue that came out often also in the initial conversation, but at the moment we don't have the technicalities to address this interoperability.
Yeah, and Janine, also to add on this, in part also will depend until what extent the joint program. There have been some conversations, but it will also depend until what extent the joint program is really the RBM system is really aligned with the information that is in UNINFO, right? So there are joint programs that are really more clearly aligned and with the same RBM system, while others that's not always so straightforward. What we have done, for instance, for the financial information of the RBM system, there is also the option of communicating with other portals. Like, for instance, we have a feed through XML. So when you download the data, you will see that you can download it through XML. So that allows to feed that data, right? So in the given moment that the problem not always is not so much the technology. So for instance, OCHA, for the humanitarian funds that we administer, through this XML type of file, they feed all the information to their portal, to the country pool funds that data hub. The complexity sometimes is the structure, right? So perhaps, Janine, that's something that we can look into about how things are structured, perhaps thanks to the new joint program guidance node, that could be much easier to make both of them connect. But further work is needed for sure. Then, Christina, there is another question.
There is another question from Husama. Is about the financial reports which agency upload quarterly. I think that I can give you the response on how uploading the document, not the financial. I think that for this one we would need more input from our colleague, but as far as I know, I don't know if Mari or Eva would like to complement this. This has not changed. So at the moment, the financial report uploading is exactly the same. But Mari or Eva, if you can complement, because I don't have this background. On the other hand, for what is related to the programmatic, so the annual or quarterly or final report document, these they are going to be uploaded by the internal application. I don't know if for the joint program you rely on the program management team, or you do have the access, or you had access to the Gateway 1. So if this is the case, liaise please with your program team and we can provide access, and we can also provide support on how to upload the documents that are going to be then available in the project and joint program page. So Mari and Eva, if you want to complement this on the financial.
Hi, Christina, this is Mari. Yeah, so in a sense, what Christina says is right. Nothing has really changed. The agencies that were reporting on a quarterly basis continue to do so. Some do, some don't. And an easy way you can look is when you see the financial information for a particular year, you could see if they've reported within that quarter. So the official reporting is 30 April of the year that follows a calendar year. So for example, 30 April, or let's say mid-May, by the time everything is recorded in the system, mid-May, you would look at the gateway, mid-May 2023, you look at the gateway, and by then the calendar year for 2022 would be complete. If you were to look for the 2023 expenditure detail, you would only see those agencies that reported on a quarterly basis in the first quarter of 2023, as an example. So, and it changes because some agencies will suddenly start to provide reporting. So we don't have I mean, maybe we could find a list, but an easy way is to just look at the data and see if you see quarterly, data in that year. Like for instance, if you see in your joint program, there have been 2022 expenditure, that means that an agency or agencies have reported at some point during 2022. But it's not guaranteed that all agencies are reporting every quarter. So it's hit or miss at this point. Thanks.
Thank you, Mari.
So if there is no any other question, perhaps yes, we can go into a few functionalities that you find useful. And perhaps what we recommend is in Analyze All Data, you have a wealth of information of all our portfolio that can be extremely useful, not only to see what is happening in your funds, but also can be sometimes useful to see, for instance, donor trends. So just on donors, you might be interested, for instance, in looking to particular donors and where there is the engagement in pool funds. So if you go to the section contributors, for sure you have done it. You can see also, for instance, in some given example.
You don't see your screen, Raul.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So in this page from the contributors page, you can see all the donors to the MPTF office. So imagine if you want to go to other and you see, okay, I would like to see, private sector. Here you see some of the private sector organizations contributing. But for instance, if you would just want to look into, let's say, we saw before the United States, that usually, or let's say European Union, that is in many joint programs. From here, you can click and you can go directly to the page of the European Union, and you can have an idea. Okay, this reflects how the contributions have evolved. So you saw 2020 there was a peak, then there was a little decrease in 2021, but you could see what are the largest funds. With here you can also play. So that can help a little bit. Here you can see all the countries where the resources are going, and you will have fine information. But perhaps even as interesting is going directly to Analyze All Data. There are 4 tools here. You have Analyze All Fund Contributions, Analyze All Fund Projects. All fund contributions is where the money in, let's say, right? Who are the donors, what funds they are putting it, and this is the fund projects, what funds, where the resources are going. And this is basically when you are looking to check if the receivable entry, which is kind of a particular receipt of payment, has been also processed. You can look at there, and the same thing in a payment vouchers. But for instance, we found very useful to go to fund contributions. Can be a good tool to really make a little bit of a research of donors, right? So let's say, okay, you are in conversations with new joint program, and say, I want to see from 2016, 2022, and you would like to see what the European Union is doing, is one of your donors. So then you also want to say, okay, Netherlands, and also working with the Netherlands. And then I would like also to see Sweden. So you are in discussions with these 3 countries. Now, before you couldn't do it, you can have the selection of 3 different or even more multiple choice donors. And then you say, I want to see just kind of the, what are the category of funds they are. Let me just go back, a step back. Here you select kind of the columns, and this is how you reduce your search, right? So here you can find all this type of information. But let's say I want to see only those that are country contributions of these countries, of these 3 donors. So then I say, okay, refresh. And from here, you're going to have an Excel file that can help you to play a little bit with that and having some donor intelligence. This is the XML that we were referring before that allows to connect with other platforms. Also, we are exploring to do it with others. But you download it here, you can download it CSV or Excel, and from there you can do all the analysis that you are interested. So we found this can be helpful. If you want to see how this have evolved by year, you say, okay, I want to look like year by year, and rather than fun, I want to see, how these contributions have evolved by year. So you will have all this information here, right? So that's a tool that you find interesting. You can find interesting for donor intelligence. And where the resources are going, perhaps that might be less interesting, but this is a similar sort of tool where you can look for projects, or you can go, okay, I would like to see all the contributions that have gone to, let's say, to a particular country here. Again, from the colleague of Georgia, we can say, okay, let's go to Georgia. And I would like to see in Georgia all, who are receiving all resources. So here you can do it, and and you say, okay, let's have a refresh, that is going to generate all the funds and what are the participating organizations that are implementing resources in Georgia. So just for your information, that can give you sometimes an intelligence, donor intelligence, to see who has experience in pool funds and what donors are contributing more to pool funds. So that's another tool for your suggestion, or that we suggest to look into. So I don't know if there is any other question. So perhaps if there is no any other question, just insist, please count with the MPTF Office team. Any improvement that you find could be helpful. Today's feedback was much appreciated. Please don't hesitate to reach us out. Please consider like the page is a resource for you to have better communications with your partners, both at the government or with the participating organizations, and most importantly with your donors. And something that has always distinguished the Gateway MPTF Office is that it has a lot of transparency and accessibility to all information in terms of financial information, but also in narrative information. So let's come with us and let's try to use it as the most valuable tool for your engagement and with partners. I don't know, Christina, colleagues, if you have any other thing to add.
No, thank you, Raul. Nothing to add from my end. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good day or good evening for those that are of you that are finishing your working day. Thank you very much for joining today. Thanks.